This is the Take a Pew podcast with Paul Kerensa. Paul, thank you for coming to see us, and please take a pew.
Well, thank you.
What were you like at school? Yes, Paul, what were you like at school?
A bit cheeky or geeky. Yeah. I had bladder problems. I was a bit leaky.
Of all your childhood memories, what's your fondest?
Oh.
Yes.
Your jingles are the best. You know that, don't you? When I was in hospital, and near Great Ormond Street Hospital, beautiful magic shop called the Magic Spot. Really dusty old shops where
Mr. Ben like that.
The guy literally had a fez. I used to love going in there.
What about the spiritual side? When did that fall upon you?
Well, I think I've got a specific moment, really. It was by a canal side in rural Birmingham. Just in the last couple of years of school, I discovered theatre, and I wrote a play, a comic play, a farce that was double booked with a murder mystery on the same show, and they both had to make their plays work together. And I loved doing it, and I thought I'll try stand up once, and I fell for it. I just thought, this is it.
Bit of a struggle stand up, isn't it?
I went to Newcastle and back in one night for a 5-minute unpaid open spot when the entire audience just talked all the way through it anyway. When I started out doing stand up, at the same time I was sending off jokes for radio shows. So when I started, it was the news headlines, and, the Now Show and Dead Ringers and a bit of sitcom and everything, taste of everything. I worked with Lee Mack on his Radio 2 sketch show for a couple of years. Then he moved to TV for Not Going Out, which we're still making 15 years on now. And then I recommended Miranda Hart for a part in that, and then she got her own sitcom, so I worked with her. All comedy it's connecting the dots. If there's an equation to comedy, I think it's X nearly equals Y.
We talked about books. I loved Hart.
Oh, cheers. I've always loved Christmas, and I've loved cultural history, still fascinated by it. My sort of new project on that is about the history of broadcasting, the history of the BBC.
So we'd like to know your favourite towel.
They're a bit underrated towels.
They are.
Where would we be without towels?
Wet. Mary Poppins is the greatest film of all time.
That's it, Mary Poppins.
I think it is
the greatest film of all time.
I think it probably is. Okay. Early each day on the steps of...
You weren't in the original, were you?
I wasn't. I've
it's
shown...
almost uncanny.
Thank you.
Or favourite type of food?
Large doner, bit of salad, mint, mild chilli, bit of lemon. In naan bread, not pitta.
Favourite sport?
Snooker? I don't know. Whichever one is least like a sport.
It's the impractical, fantastical, take a pew dinner party.
Scooby-Doo. No further questions.
Straight away. Well, obviously
Scooby-Doo,
it would be, yeah.
Is it true?
Do you think angels eat?
That's a good question, that.
Lord kebab, maybe? Your spiritual pearl of wisdom.
We're not as good as we think we are on our best days, but we're not as bad as we think we are on our worst days. We change all the time, but God is the one who is unchanging, and he has a better plan for us.
Simon's random question.
Prawns eating prawn cocktail crisps. Again, that is that cannibalism?
And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Take a pew.